with mystery. These first words describe an intimacy between the Word and God. At the same time, the uniqueness each retains is underscored. In these first words from the Gospel of John, we're given mystery, namely of unity, diversity, and relationship. Mystery is also found in both the poetry of the words and between the lines. So I invite you to read these lines from Scripture with mystic eyes. Hear these words with mystic ears. Do not be content with just thinking about the words. Do not stop with reason. Do not confuse knowledge with depth, information with transformation, insight with mystery. Read these words with mystic eyes. Hear these words with mystic ears. There's more to these words than meets the eye. These words are about presence. Let the presence of God pull you, satisfy you, involve you. And now let me explain how this retreat came to be. Several years ago, I met a woman named Pat Wilson. We were preaching a mission in her parish in Beloit, Wisconsin. Pat was extroverted, intelligent, humorous, but she was more than any of these qualities. There was more to Pat than having a winning personality, being a faithful, strong, and loving wife and mother. Pat had a longing for God. She could have been a centerfold in a magazine entitled Ordinary Holiness. During our first years of friendship, Pat was diagnosed with breast cancer, which over time ravaged her body, but not her spirit. Not too long before she died, she called and told me, she didn't ask, she told me I would give a 3-day retreat for 9 of her friends. It will be, she said, my final gift to them, a way for me to say thank you to them before I die. Not the least bit interested in my response, she proceeded to tell me that the content of the retreat was to be everyday holiness. When we gathered at her home for the retreat, some of the women didn't know each other. There were some women from Beloit, but not from the parish. 2 others had traveled to Wisconsin from the East Coast, and the others all seemed to have known each other on a scale from passing acquaintance to intimate friend. But none of that was important. We were all there because we had one thing in common. Each of us was a friend of Pat Wilson. We were not very far into the retreat when it was discovered we had something else in common. Each of us had been challenged and comforted by the meaning of mystery in our everyday lives. Together we were in good company. During our retreat, not one of us missed or dismissed the mystery of what it meant to be together in the presence of God. As I prepared for that retreat, the focus began to take shape. Since then, I've given this retreat on several occasions, often changing the content, but always returning to the original concept of ordinary mystery. The first 3 retreat conferences are the foundation for the rest of the retreat. In the first conference, we'll ponder the meaning of mystery, the presence of God, nothing more, nothing less. In the second conference, we'll focus on paradox. Paradox is the way we tell the truth about both the visible absence of God and the visible presence of God in the world. When God is absent, we name that sin. When God is present, we experience grace. The third conference is about Mary, the music of God. We'll sit beside her and hum. We'll experience her as a mother, teacher, sister, and friend. And the next 9 conferences are about some selected ordinary mysteries. There are many more mysteries which I'm sure your experience, study, reflection could imagine or describe. But for this retreat, I've included